Hi, I'm Andrew, the young adult and media librarian at North Brunswick Public Library. You may have read a book that came out in 2017 and has been on the YA bestseller list ever since. It's called The Hate You Give, and it was by the author Angie Thomas in her debut. It was about a girl named Star and what happens when she sees her friend killed by a police officer. Right, you could say that that was a book that really came out at the right time. That meant a lot of things for a lot of people. One of the most interesting characters in the book is her father, Maverick. And this book, the new book by Angie Thomas, Concrete Rose, is a prequel. This one is, we go back to the 1990s, the late 1990s. Maverick is 17 years old. He lives with his mother in the inner city, and his father is in prison. His father was a known gang lord, alongside the father of Maverick's friend King. Right now, if you've read *The Hate You Give*, you know a little bit about what happens to King as well. But in this book, he and Maverick are still friends. Now, Maverick is what you might say is middle management in the gang. He sells marijuana. He looks after the middle school kids who are recruited into the gang. Yeah. By the way, I'm certainly not advocating or condoning any kind of criminal activity or gang lifestyle, but I do think this book is definitely worth reading because it's a really interesting exploration of what it means to be a man. Certainly, especially for an African American teen who may not necessarily know where his future lies. Right? He sees what happens to his father and to King's father, and but he doesn't necessarily want that. Well, things get very complicated early in the book when when Maverick discovers that King's girlfriend's son is actually Maverick's son, and Maverick ends up having to take care of the boy. Well, this is really makes things very complicated for him. How is he going to look after the boy, being a boy himself of only 17. So he so his cousin, who's really more like a brother than a cousin, his older brother, almost like an older brother, is named Dre. And Dre tells him, we can get you out of this lifestyle. It's not good for you now that you have a son. You can still get out. Well, Maverick doesn't really believe that. He knows what happened the last time someone tried to get out. He ended up getting beaten up so badly that he couldn't play football anymore. And he was hoping to win. This kid was hoping to go to college with a football scholarship. So, easier getting out is easier said than done. But he has a lot of decisions to make right now, and not necessarily any clear answers. Now, if you've already read *The Hate You Give*, you may remember something else that you may figure out what else is going to happen in this book that will definitely affect him. One thing that you may not know, though, is someone who's very close to Maverick is killed, and Maverick is put in the position of having to know what to do next. Should he take revenge? That's what people in his gang would expect him to do, and that's he hates the idea of a murderer getting away with it, or what else should he do? What can he do? So I think this is a really an interesting explanation of what it means to be a man, specifically an African American man, in the United States. And I think that it is a book. It's suspenseful, but it's more it's more, I'd say, more dramatic than anything else. I did really want him to sort of put his life together as best he could, but again, there are no easy answers for him. But just because there are no easy answers doesn't mean that there's no hope either. We also get to meet his girlfriend Lisa, who is not who is not very happy when she finds out about the baby, and as well as some other figures who will be familiar with you will be familiar with if you've read *The Hate You Give*. Now, if you haven't read The Hate You Give, you really don't necessarily need to before reading Concrete Rose. I don't think I think that either way you can enjoy the books in whichever order you read them. But I do recommend reading it. I think that it's a really good moving book, and if it's also a very thoughtful book. If you have a North Brunswick Library card, you can place a hold on it either on our website, northbrunswicklibrary.org, or by calling us at the library during our open hours. We'd be happy to take your call. And if you've read this book, and I'd really love to hear your opinion on it. You always really enjoy hearing what our readers have to say about the books we have for you. Also, if there are any other books that you'd like me to look at, or any other books that maybe we can buy for the library, please let me know that as well. Thanks a lot and happy reading.